What if the habit that you see as a great strength is actually what's holding you back? Today we're talking about the deep roots of people-pleasing and the hidden costs that go with it. The foundation of people-pleasing is often laid in our earliest years. As children, our survival and well-being are entirely dependent on our primary caregivers. We quickly become adept at observing and internalizing what makes them happy and, more importantly, what triggers their anger or disappointment. If you grew up with a parent or guardian who was maybe overly critical, maybe they had rigid expectations, or maybe emotionally unpredictable, let's say, you likely developed a heightened sense of awareness. You became a master at reading the room and anticipating others' needs before they even spoke. Now, this wasn't a flaw in your character, it was a brilliantly adaptive survival strategy. You learned that by acting in a certain way, by being compliant, being helpful, maybe even invisible, you could ensure both your emotional and physical safety, and also in turn receive love and approval. The challenge, however, is that this ingrained pattern of behavior doesn't always disappear when we become adults. That core belief that your safety, your worth, your acceptance are contingent upon making everybody around you happy can persist, becoming a heavy psychological burden. You become a radio station constantly trying to tune into other frequencies, never play your own unique music. This chronic focus on others can also pave the way for a more complex dynamic known as codependency. Codependency is another pattern of behavior where your sense of self-worth is derived from your role as a caretaker or as a rescuer. You feel a persistent need to fix or solve the problems of those close to you, and may even feel immense guilt if you don't. This can create a one-sided relationship where you are perpetually the giver, constantly the giver, and the other person is the taker. You lose your identity in the process of trying to manage someone else's life, trapping both of you in a harmful cycle that prevents true personal growth for either party. To become your true self, you need to go on a journey of individuation. Think of it as a journey to finally become your most authentic self, a version of you that is whole and unique. It's a process of stepping away from what your family, your friends, or even society expect of you, so you can discover who you really are deep inside. The goal is to bring all the different parts of yourself, both the good and the not so good, together into one solid, honest person. This is a voyage where you are both the explorer and the land you are exploring, drawing your own map for your life. Unfortunately, people pleasers, myself included, often get stuck on this important journey. Instead of following their own inner guide, they build their lives around what other people want them to be. For example, they might choose a job, a partner, a hobby, because they think these choices will make others proud, not because they truly want them. This behavior creates a false self, a version of you that is carefully made, pieced together, just to get the approval from others. This false self is an expert changing to fit the needs of every different person, every different situation, almost like a chameleon changing its colors. Keeping up this fake self is just so tiring, so draining, and the price you pay is the real you, with your own unique dreams and wishes, gets buried under all these layers of expectations. This creates a painful gap between who you are on the inside and the person you show to the world. You might feel like you're a fake or an imposter, always acting a part. This feeling can lead to a constant sense of emptiness, of worry, of sadness. You might even look or be successful to others, but still feel like something is missing. This internal struggle happens because the real you wants to be honest and real, while the fake you is only worried about staying safe or getting approval from others. This gap leaves you feeling lost, without a clear purpose, because the life you are living doesn't feel like your own. This leads us on to the surprising way people-pleasing can actually harm others. See, this is an interesting thought, and perhaps the most difficult truth for a people-pleaser to accept. Your intentions are likely good. You want to help, you want to make things easier, you want to prevent anyone from feeling upset or uncomfortable, but in your efforts to smooth things over, to prevent any friction, you may unknowingly be creating a larger, more harmful problem. A habit rooted in kindness and a desire to help may in fact be disempowering to those that you seek to help. When you constantly try to please everyone, you risk inadvertently stunting their personal and emotional development. This is a subtle, yet very real form of harm that often goes unrecognized by both parties. Consider the dynamic that unfolds when you constantly intervene to solve someone's problems. What message are you communicating to them? You're teaching them that they are not required to face their own challenges or navigate their own complexities. For example, say a friend is complaining about a difficult situation at work, and you're immediately there to help them, to furnish them with a complete solution. You are not empowering them to think critically. Maybe something as simple as a family member is struggling with a chore and you swoop in to complete it for them. You are effectively robbing them of the opportunity to learn, to fail, to feel the satisfaction of personal accomplishment. And obviously we're talking about the much larger picture than these small things, but it all adds up. This consistent pattern of risk, you can prevent them from building crucial life skills, problem solving, resilience, self-reliance. These are not skills learned in a vacuum. They are forged from difficulty and earned through persistence and effort. By consistently making things easy and comfortable, you are taking away their chance to build emotional muscle. You become so concerned with their temporary discomfort, their frustration, their stress, their sadness, that you do not allow them the space to sit with those feelings, to work through them, and to ultimately discover their own inherent strength. This creates that one-sided relational dynamic where others become overly dependent on you for their emotional and practical well-being. This dependency is a prison for both of you. For them, it prevents the maturation necessary to face life's inevitable hardships on their own terms. And for you, it solidifies your role as a helper or fixer, a persona, a mask that eclipses your true identity. As a result, you never get the chance to be seen as the capable, independent person that you truly are. Outside of your function as a solution provider, your own needs and vulnerabilities are rendered invisible as the relationship becomes centered on your ability to fix and assist rather than that of mutual respect and a shared human experience. This dynamic leaves both individuals stunted, one unable to fully stand on their own, and the other trapped in a role that prevents their own authentic self from being seen. So how can we move on from this? What are the first steps towards a more authentic life? I always find it a bit cliche when people say, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, but that is what this is. Breaking the habit of people-pleasing is not a destination, it's an ongoing journey. It requires patience, it requires courage, it requires a commitment to yourself. So the following steps are not a quick fix, but perhaps a place to start, and there are many. A rebuilding of the foundation for a new way of living. Let's begin with embracing the discomfort of no. Saying no will almost certainly feel strange and deeply uncomfortable at first. Someone who has spent a lifetime saying yes to keep peace and to earn approval, this one small word can almost feel like an act of defiance. You might be afraid of disappointing someone, of causing a problem, or being seen as selfish. The thought of a friend's hurt feelings or a colleague's frustration can feel overwhelming. This is okay. These feelings of tension, of guilt, of anxiety are not a sign that you are doing something wrong. They can, in fact, be a very good sign. That feeling of discomfort is a clear signal that you are stepping outside of your established patterns and challenging a deeply ingrained habit. And of course, you can just start with very small things and work your way up. It's almost like a muscle that has been dormant for a long time. When you start to use it again, it feels sore, it feels unfamiliar. The more you practice setting small boundaries and saying no to things that do not serve you, the easier it will become. Each time you say no with intention, you are not being difficult. You are being honest with yourself and with others. This act, while uncomfortable, is a very large step towards living a life that is truly your own. Next, let's go with know your boundaries. Think of your personal boundaries like a fence around your house. The fence isn't there to keep everyone out, but to clearly define what is yours and what is not. It is a tool for protection, and its purpose is to safeguard your valuable energy and your valuable time. Your personal energy is a finite resource, and without clear boundaries, you risk giving it all away until you have nothing left for yourself. Your time, a non-renewable asset, can also be easily consumed by the demands of others if you don't have clear limits. It's crucial to understand that you do not have to let everyone in. You have the right to decide who and what you allow into your personal space and life. It is perfectly acceptable and healthy to have limits on what you are willing to do for others. Without these limits, your emotional and mental space can become a free-for-all, a buffet, leaving you feeling exhausted and maybe even resentful. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect. It communicates to others, and more importantly to yourself, that your well-being matters. This doesn't make you a bad person, it makes you a healthy one. In fact, people who have clear boundaries are often able to give more authentically because their giving comes from a place of choice, not of obligation. By defining your limits, you are not closing yourself off from the world. You are simply creating that foundation from which you can engage with others in a more sustainable and honest way. Your boundaries are the key to preventing burnout and building relationships that are based on mutual respect rather than one-sided giving. Next, let's go with letting go of the need for approval. This habit of people-pleasing is often driven by an ongoing feeling for the need for approval from others. This creates a cycle where your sense of self-worth is not something that you possess, but something you're always trying to earn from others. Sometimes you might feel like you're not good enough, or that your actions are not valid unless someone else tells you so. This reliance on external validation leaves you emotionally vulnerable, as your feelings about yourself can shift dramatically based on a single comment or opinion from someone else. The key to breaking this cycle is to start by giving yourself that approval. This is an active and conscious practice, not a passive hope. It begins with the fundamental recognition of your own value, of your own worth, not based on what others think or say about you, but based on who you are. This means appreciating your inherent qualities, your efforts, your character, regardless of how they are received by the outside world. Start by celebrating your small victories each day and acknowledging your own acts of kindness and strength. To cultivate this internal validation, challenge the negative thoughts that say you're not good enough. Ask yourself, is this thought true? Or is it a reflection of the now old beliefs that I no longer need? Treat yourself with the same compassion and encouragement you would offer to a friend. Recognize that your value is not a prize to be won through pleasing others. It is a gift you were born with. When you can give yourself the approval you once sought from others, you gain a sense of emotional freedom and stability. You become your own most reliable source of validation, and that is a power that can never be taken away. Let's do one more of a similar vein, cultivating self-compassion. This is a practice that may feel unfamiliar. People-pleasing often comes from a deep-seated belief that you are not good enough unless you're serving others. This can lead to harsh self-criticism, Whenever you fall short or choose yourself over someone else, you may hear that inner voice telling you that you're selfish, you're uncaring, you're a failure. Self-compassion is the antidote for this inner critic. It means treating yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and forgiveness that you would offer for a close friend. Instead of seeing a mistake as a sign of personal failing, you can view it as a normal part of being human. Instead of feeling guilty for saying no, you can recognize that it was an act of self-care. This practice is a powerful way to heal the underlying wounds that drive people-pleasing. By acknowledging your own pain without judgment and offering yourself grace, you can begin to build a new foundation of inner strength and self-worth. This is how you learn to see your value as something that is already within you, not something that has to be earned through the approval of anybody else. So to summarize, the goal is not to stop being kind. The goal is to be authentically kind. When you are truly yourself, you attract people who love you for who you are, not for what you can do for them. Being your true self is one of the most powerful things you can do. Not only does it set you free, but it also gives others the gift of knowing the real you. I think that your true self may even be the greatest gift that you can offer the world. And as usual, thank you guys for watching. And if this resonated with you, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until then, I will see you next time.